Welcome to Semper Fi. I'm your host, Mark Bonstein, as I was commonly referred to as Staff Sergeant B. Going to get to my guest in a moment here, but first we're going to go over what happened this day in U.S. military history on March 1st. In the Navy, 1941, the U.S. Navy forms a support force of the Atlantic Fleet. The main part of the unit is made up of 3 destroyer squadrons of 27 ships. General information on 1944. On the island of Los Negros, U.S. forces eliminate some small Japanese forces that inflicted with the lines during the night. And in the Army Marines on 1945, on the island of Iwo Jima, forces of the U.S. 5th Amphibious Corps now hold both the 1st, 2nd Island Airfield and have a foothold on the southern end. And that's what happened on March 1st. And ironically, my next guest was in the Navy. And first, before we get to him, I'm going to show him something in his honor. So, Chad, if you'd be so kind.
The call to serve. It has no sound, yet I have heard it in the whispered retelling of honorable sacrifices made by those who have served before me. The call to serve has no form, yet I have clearly seen it in the eyes of men and women infinitely more courageous and more driven than most. The call to serve has no weight, yet I have held it in my hands. I will commit to carry it close to my heart until my country is safe and the anguish of those less fortunate has been soothed. The call to serve is at once invisible and always present. And for those who choose to answer the call, for their country, for their fellow man, for themselves, it is the most powerful force on earth. America's Navy, a global force for good.
All right, and once again, that's complimentary of YouTube, where I get a lot of my footage. And my next guest served in the Navy, so welcome, John Pritchard.
Hey, welcome.
All right, give us the down and dirty, where you're from and when you joined the Navy, and a little bit about you.
I'm from the state of New Jersey, and I got away from it pretty quick. I joined the Navy in 1946. I got on a little seaplane tender. I think that was about the greatest adventure I had because I had an opportunity to technically meet Harry S. Truman.
Okay.
As we escorted his yacht from Williamsburg to Key West, Florida. And outside of that, I guess not other than getting on an aircraft carrier, which is a very impersonal ship. Because when you have about 3,000 men, you're just a number.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's go back a little bit further then. Where'd you go to boot camp?
Bainbridge, Maryland.
Okay, and how long was boot camp back in the 40s?
About 4 weeks.
Was 4 weeks long?
About that.
Really intensive back then? Seeing as how it was during the era of World War II.
I really didn't do too much. A lot of marching, a lot of drilling, that's about it. Then I got transferred to a ship.
Qualification with the 20, did they shoot the 22 rifle back then? Because I know the Navy fan fires with 22s.
I don't think I ever did.
No? I
don't even think I ever shot a gun. I shot a gun in boot camp.
No?
I don't recall. I really don't.
Upon graduation, what was your MOS? What was your job?
I just ordinary seaman.
But they had you on a ship, and what did you do?
I was a snipe.
What's that?
Engineer.
See, so you had a job. You're an engineer, a snipe. Jeez.
Well, we were always down the hole. That's what I call the snipes. That's all.
Because you lived down in the hole?
Yeah, that's about it.
Kind of shifts did you work?
4 on, 4 off.
Like pulling teeth of a tiger, getting you to answer. 4 on, 4 off, 24 hours all night?
Yeah, that's about it. When we're out to sea, anyway.
And how long were you in sea?
Well, hey, really, I wouldn't. The first ship I was on was, how do I say it?
It floated.
The greatest thing in the world. Really.
What was your first ship?
USS Greenwich Bay.
Okay. What made that so unique?
It was a seaplane tender.
Okay.
And what they used to do during the war, they had ships placed in various spots to tend seaplanes. And the seaplanes were always looking for the Japanese fleet.
Okay.
So basically we'd set out in the Pacific somewhere, and a Catalina would come in, or more, or a big Catalina, or whatever plane was in the area at that time, we'd bring them in and refuel them, and resupply the aircraft, and the men take off and fly again, and they just patrol the Pacific. That's all they did, is looking for the Japanese fleet.
So all your ships were just strategically positioned.
Exactly. There was a mothership, which was a large seaplane tender, which could bring a plane on board.
All right.
They could bring in, open the back, and bring the ship in. We were a small one, where we could only, when they landed, tow them into the fantail, resupply the airplane, and then they'd take off.
Okay. How many years were you in the Navy for?
4.
4 years. And how many ships did you happen to go on when you said?
2.
Because you said your first one was your best one. Why was that? What made that one so unique over Coral Sea? Is that the other
name? No. It's Greenwich Bay. It was a hooligan ship, if that's what you want to call it.
A what?
A hooligan ship.
A hooligan ship. What, the Bowery Boys are on it? The Dead End Kids?
It was just not regulation.
Very
Okay?
relaxed?
Very relaxed, whatever it was. I mean, if we're out to sea, we may be sunbathing on the winches and stuff like that. It didn't really make any difference. It's one of those things. Not regulation, dungarees, skivvies if you got away with it. But that's about it.
So
When I got on the carrier, very different, very different.
What carrier were you on?
USS Coral Sea,
And that's the one you're wearing now.
yeah. One of the bigger ones, Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
Now, what was
And
that
Midway.
ship like in comparison to the other one, other than being strict Navy all of a sudden?
That's about it. You got it.
What
It was
year-
a good ship. I was down in engineering. I was in number 2 engine room, I think it was, and we had a good time, you know. But you didn't go from the hangar deck above without a uniform in a day. You couldn't go on a flight deck as far as even leisure time, other than Sundays, where you might have a barbecue on a flight deck or something like that. But outside of that, no, you had to be in full dress.
Good times on that ship, at least?
Yeah, we did it. We a lot of good ports.
What was the longest you stayed out to sea for?
Probably a month and a half. 2 months.
Really?
Yeah, that's about it.
Now, what does CVB stand for on your shirt?
Carrier Vessel Battle,
Carrier Vessel Battle 43?
43. Yeah,
Okay.
that was the last one of the Midway class carriers. One was the FDR, Franklin Roosevelt, and Midway.
And this one's been
That
decommissioned
was the
since?
last one. Yeah.
Wouldn't
She
you-
was updated and everything. Had a new angle deck and put everything else on her.
And then they wound up decommissioning, or she's
Yeah,
still
it
intact?
decommissioned in I don't know what it is. In the 50s, I think it was.
Oh, really? That
Yeah.
long ago?
Yeah.
So you're on this one now. Where was your best port of call?
France.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why you say that. Anything good you want to share about France?
The scenery was great. I
really?
bought a lot of perfume because we could go up in the mountains where they made Chanel No. 5.
Oh, really?
You know, when you pay $67 an ounce and you get it for $10, that's pretty good. You can bring it home and sell it again.
Oh, a little black marketing, wasn't it?
It's something like that.
You made a comment that you got in a little bit of trouble and some Marines on the ship, or one of your port of calls, or anything you want to touch on, or you rather just let that go?
No, let's put it this way. We're both in the service, okay? And when it comes to anything doing to the Marines and the Navy, we'll join together.
Oh, yeah.
But then again, we'll also fight each other too. And the biggest thing in the Marines and the Navy is the fact that they were our jailers, okay? They were on the ship to secure the ship, and we couldn't do nothing, and they were a pain in our ass. Pardon the expression.
Marines a pain? Really? Go on now.
Well, they were and they weren't. I had a couple of good friends that I enjoyed their company, and we enjoyed each other. But as a rule, you always saw the Navy fighting the Marines, but they really weren't. Okay, really, in all
I don't know,
truth.
the knuckles that were being thrown at me when I was in the Philippines, I don't know the difference.
But we
I couldn't tell between a fight and play fighting.
mostly, what the Marines did, they had to be what they were. They were gung-ho, and I'll admit it. And they'll admit it too. But the point is, they did a hell of a job. They did a hell of a job. Without the Marines, we wouldn't have conquered the Pacific. They did it all. They did island hopping from one place to the other, and the Army took over after they cleaned them up. And that's the way it had to be.
Well, I wasn't there, so I'm not going to say anything in
No, no,
retaliation, but I always get on my
I-
emails.
I watched, and plus the fact that I knew I had 2 or 3 of the guys that were friends of mine. Okay, so it's a misconception that the Marine and Navy doesn't get along. Well, that's wrong.
No, they do. It's like I always tell everybody.
Yeah.
It's just like in
But
high
there's a
school.
misconception that
Yeah, we all serve under the same flag. That's what I always tell everybody. They got just like you go into the chow hall and you pick on the cooks. Ask them what that is crawling on the tray.
We figure that the Marines stick out their chest more than we do.
Mine just fell. My chest is down here now. Told my son I'm done growing up. Now I'm growing out.
See, we always used to look at the old chiefs, They're the ones that would provide the leadership for the enlisted men, or the old chiefs.
Oh yeah.
They were the wise old owls. They were.
Yeah, well, they've been along. They're equivalent to gunnies, E7s. Yeah, they were the inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones that you look, like you said, you look for the guidance, and they had all the leadership, and they had all the training, they had all the knowledge.
Oh, yeah.
They still do. There's nothing different then between now that they still are. They're the ones you go to when you need anything answered right.
They're the basic backbone.
Yeah, you go to your chiefs and you go to your gunnies, your first sergeants, your senior chiefs.
That's right.
Very few times I had to go to the officer because gunny knew what had to get done.
And if I went to the officers, I went to captain's mess.
Yeah, see, other than that, I never really had a reason unless the
Right.
captain wanted me to do something specific. But other than that, everything was done through the company gunny, and we did it that way. Didn't really have to bother them. So you stayed in the Navy. What year did you get out?
I'm not sure. Sometime 46, I think.
Around 46?
Yeah, 46, maybe. No. 48.
Oh, okay.
48, yeah. I think it's 48, yeah.
And what'd you do when you got out?
That's too far back. I don't know.
Can't remember what I did yesterday, right? I don't remember what I had for lunch
I
yesterday.
just kind of wandered around, I guess, until
Yeah.
I found where I was supposed to be. I went to work for a company called Deal Valve Steam Turbine Company. That's a long time ago.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Well, in 48, you were still running around, and I didn't come around till 57, so okay. You got me by a couple days.
We live and learn.
Well, that's what we were saying before the show, joining the military, talking about maturity and how, you get responsibilities you wouldn't normally see.
Yeah, I got out. I think I got married while I was in the service. It's been a long time.
She kind of stayed on ship when you left, right?
Yeah.
Tugging away.
Yeah, I married a very attractive girl. That's the wrong thing to do.
From France.
Because, when you're in the Navy and you drag her around with you a while, you find out you don't do that. She was a blonde and she was, yeah.
Was she French? Did you meet her in France?
No, I met her stateside.
Oh, okay. Well, because you said you had a great time in France buying perfume.
I met her stateside, but I kind of wandered around somewhere out of my area and wound up in this area where this guy says, "Hey, I'll take you over to somebody's house," And then there's a whole crowd of guys there, and this blonde was there. And I wound up marrying her.
Just saying hi and having a cup of coffee was
Right.
And
And
you had to marry. You couldn't just say hi.
I was married probably about 15 years with her. And end of the story.
Yep. Everybody just parted ways, right?
That's about it.
Just stamped their paperwork, OTH.
Yeah,
and just-
my present wife forever, I think. Salute.
okay. Probably should have spiked your coffee.
Yeah, it is.
Anything else that you did in the Navy you want to talk about? Or anything you've seen? You didn't see any combat over there, any action, did you?
No.
You said you were strategically positioned, so
Right.
you didn't get any...
The fact that we escorted the Williamsburg from Washington, D.C. to Key West, Florida, and Truman was never on it, but he took his yacht with him. When he finally got there, we were supposed to have a luncheon with him on the ship. I remember I was on the bow, as far as the honor guards, in white. And Cordell Hall, Harry S. Truman, and a few other in the crowd went fishing. So they said, well, they're going to come and have breakfast. I remember it because I was almost at the very point of the bow. Ship was pointed in. So port of starboard, I don't even remember anymore what port of starboard is. I remember looking down the dock area and could see Truman coming with his bunch. And we figured we were going to see him, he's going to speak to us, after he had lunch or whatever it was. Kept on going. He went fishing. We stayed on the ship for about, I think it was about 4 hours, and he come back and he was going to come on the ship again.
Okay.
And we, of course, lined the rails again. And Harry and his group just kept on going. Never stopped, give us anything.
Didn't even inspect the troops or...
Not a thing, not a thing.
You get any kind of citation for being on the escort for the
No,
president?
never. I guess it must have been a secret. I don't know.
Didn't
No,
sound
we
it was a
never
secret.
got any recognition.
Because I know
one way or the
usually
other.
they give out, you get some kind of a citation.
Yeah, we
saying
never.
that you were-
Not that I was aware of.
Well, that was during the 40s, so there was a lot.
Yeah, we stayed there probably 2 weeks or so.
Really?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
he
just-
did whatever he
And
did.
just did with that, and you just
Yeah,
just catered to him
that's
and
about it.
made sure that he got
Well,
safe crossings.
I got beat up. Let me relate a little bit. Instead of going out the main gate, I went through the admin building, and I didn't know I was in the wrong place. And when I was going to the admin building, there's a quad, area. Harry Truman was sitting there in the quad area, and he had a book, and it was a Life magazine. I remember that. And I had a little old camera, all right? So there's the hedgerow here. So I proceeded to walk towards the hedgerows and pick that camera up. And when I picked that camera up, the world dropped on top of me. All of its security jumped on me, beat me up, not physically, but stomped me on the ground, ruined my whites and everything, dragged me in the admin building, and wanted to know what the hell I was doing there. And being, 17 years old, scared to death, I didn't know what to say to him. And then finally I got convinced of the fact that I wasn't going to do anything wrong, but take a picture of him with a beat-up old camera, which was now stomped to death,
You never got that back, did you?
Never did. Even pieces I didn't get back. And they told me to get the hell, pardon the expression, get the hell back to the ship.
Really?
I had no business there. And I said, what did I know?
They have Secret Service back then, or were they just security forces?
I guess it was security. I guess it was Secret Service. I don't know.
How many of them jumped? About 4 or 5?
The world was on top of me.
However many that is.
Yeah, that's about it. The world was on top of me. And they really screwed up my whites. Went back to the ship.
And you didn't go for any kind of office hours or anything like that? They just kind of
I went back to the
commanded you
ship, and
told you to go.
the OD was the first class, I think it was. He said to me, expression, exactly, what the hell happened to you? Couldn't say too much. But
Well, you got to see their point of view, like it is today. You know, with the same thing, and you go lifting up something, they have to figure what it is. And
well, we were docked in Brooklyn Navy Yard, and they had a whole bunch of Japanese airplanes in that Brooklyn Navy Yard. And I got off the ship and went to go to the PX. I went to the PX, and I'm looking at all these Japanese airplanes piled up all over the place. So I go to the PX and get whatever come back, and I said, I gotta have me a piece of one of them airplanes. Okay. I thought there was no security around. There's just a lot of airplanes around, you know.
so you're gonna take the tail wing, put it in your pocket,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
walk off?
Try to rip off a piece of the airplane. Yeah.
It is. Is that what you're going for? A little.
And I did. I ripped off a piece of the airplane, and I went back to the ship, and I'm trying. And they had a movie. They had a movie on the ship, and I wanted to show everybody what I had. Okay, because I stopped at the PX. I had a beer. I think about it. And I was 17 years old. Wasn't even supposed to have a beer there. And got back to the ship, and I was waving that thing around, blocking the camera. And somebody got a hold of me and threw me in my piece of airplane overboard. Right in the trick.
You see that thing about getting in the wrong place at the wrong
Oh,
time?
yeah, well, the one thing is, I went from that ship, which was very non-regulation, as you can understand, to a ship that was nothing but regulations.
Yeah, it makes it hard. Transaction.
Really, it really was tough. Because you couldn't do anything that, if you didn't do it right, you just didn't do it.
Yeah. We're damned if we do and damned if we don't.
Yeah. But it was enjoyable. I spent my time in the engine room. As long as I stayed down there, I wasn't in trouble.
Isn't that the way a lot of that's where it is for work with me right
Yeah.
now? Fly you low under the radar, you're good. Well, that's going to bring another close to Semper Fi. I like having you, John. You're a lot of fun. Next time we'll spike your coffee.
Oh, yeah, do that.
Relax you a little bit. If you want to be on the show, give me a call at 513-2056. You got a story, I want to hear it just like John. So until next week, Semper Fi. Thank you for being on. Hurrah.
Left foot, left foot.